welcome to this session. So in this session, we are going to start the new series of the DevOps projects. So to understand how to work on the different DevOps project, we are starting this series. So in this series, we are taking the different example of how to create the DevOps project. So this is our first project, where we are taking the infrastructure as a code example, where we will work with the Jenkins, Terraform, and AWS Amazon Web Services. So here we are taking the Amazon Web Services EC2 example. We are going to create the EC2 using the Terraform script, and the same Terraform script will be triggered by the Jenkins. So this is the full flow how we are maintaining our infrastructure using the Terraform script. This we'll see in this complete session. So let's start. So things we are going to cover in this session. So Jenkins configuration as part of the things we have to configure in Jenkins using the Jenkins file. Next one is we configure the AWS credential, how to take the AWS credential from the AWS IAM and how to store the same credential in Jenkins. Then we'll take the Terraform code integration part. So how Terraform code integration works. So we will go to the Jenkins file and Terraform different command like Terraform init, plan, and apply, how that commands are works to create the infrastructure. And at last we'll see the full end-to-end flow using the Jenkins, where we'll trigger our job and we'll deploy our EC2 instance in AWS. So let's start. So first let's go to the Jenkins. So these my Jenkins are deployed in the AWS only. So I'm starting here. I'm just creating my first job. So I'm giving my DevOps project name. Making the pipeline job. So this is our pipeline job, and this is the configuration part. We have created our own Jenkins full tutorial. You can go through that tutorial to understand the different Jenkins functionality. Here we will go to the pipeline, and in pipeline we are taking from the Jenkins file from the SCM. So SCM we can take from the different parameter kind of Git subversion, and we can add the Bitbucket also here. So here we are taking the Git. And for Git, we have to pass our repo. Let me just click here. And this repo link we have to pass. So I'm passing the repo link here. This is the public repository, so no need to add the credential. And the branch is master. And which Jenkins file we have to use. So here I have created the Jenkins file under my AWS EC2 first instance. So we will take this path. So you can configure which Jenkins file you want to use. So here we are configuring the Jenkins file under this folder. So this is the configuration portion of from where to fetch Jenkins file. So this configuration is completed. Okay, now let's see what is our code in Jenkins file. First understand. So here in the Jenkins file you can see what this code is doing. So before Jenkins file, let me show you what our actually AWS first instance is creating. So this is a simple example which create the AWS instance. Simple. We are not creating any web server here. We are just creating the AWS EC2 instance. So this is a very simple script. Now let's go to the Jenkins file. Okay, and let's try to understand how Jenkins file is work. So here we have created the parameter section. In the parameter section we have passed the workspace which used to create before we run the Terraform command. So we will create the new workspace, And this auto approval, this we have taken the extra stage where we have to pass the approval to create the configuration. So sometimes you observe that the production environment having the approval stage. So this is the same which required for the special approval to deploy in different stage. So here we have taken the example for the approval. This is a boolean parameter value where you have to pass yes and no. Okay, so environment section, here we have to pass the AWS credential. So this is the AWS access key and AWS secret key we have passed. We have created the we have to create the two credential in the Jenkins, but before that we have to find the AWS key and AWS access key. Let's see. So while you go in the IAM in the user section, so you can get your credential, security credential, access key from here. So it won't be show here, but you can generate the new one also, and while creating the new user it will give you the all details, even it will give the CSV download, so you can save for your future reference. So this is my access key and the secret key. I can make the inactive also, even I can create the new one also. So from here let me show you, if I will just add new user, I'm showing the test. I'm creating the user with both access, giving the administrator group, and done. So this user will be created here. It will show you the secret key and access key, and this secret key and access key we will take and will configure in a Jenkins. So this show you the once at a first time. Post that it won't show you the secret key. You can download from here also. Okay, let me go back and just I'm removing this user. Okay, so my user is removed. Let's again go to the Jenkins side where to configuration for the credential. So in credential you have to go in a manage Jenkins, and in manage Jenkins you will find the credential section, manage credential, and here we will add the new credential. How to add, let me show you. Go to Jenkins subsystem and add credential you will find. And in credential you have to pass the secret text, that's our access key. Paste your access key here and give your access key name. So I'm not adding here because we already add. I will just show you the updation portion. So this is my access key I have added here. Let me update here. So this is my ID I have given. This is description, and this is access key. You can just change here. But we don't require to change, we already have. So this access key we have added the same way we have added the secret key. So this two variable will add as a globally in Jenkins side, and this two variable we can use in any of our Jenkins script. Okay, now let's again go to the our code. So here I'm taking any of our agent running, so there is only Jenkins running, so we are not added any node. Then we are going to check out our code, and post checkout our core job will start. So we do the init, Terraform init, then we create the one Terraform workspace. Post that Terraform workspace, we are selecting that same workspace. So this environment variable pass here in the parameter. So this is the workspace name which we are passing while we creating job. Workspace, post that we creating the Terraform plan, which having the output file is the TF plan. So this TF plan will use to apply our configuration. This is show command what is in our TF plan, and post that our approval stage will be there. So here we are expecting the true, then it will take the auto approval, else it will throw a message for approval stage, and this will read the input file from the TF plan txt. This one it will show you while we are running our script. And at last, this is the apply stage. So apply stage what doing? This is doing the simply Terraform apply with the TF plan, the same plan which created the while Terraform plan command executed. So this plan will be executed. This plan will be created the infrastructure with execution of the Terraform apply. Let's go to Jenkins side, and again I'm just going to our project configuration. So this is a project created. Let me create our job. Let's see whether it gets success or fail. So I just created the build job here. So this will do the check declarative checkout. That's it will take the code from the take the code from the GitHub, and here we can see our first job is get failed. So where did it fail? It's get failed in the plan. So it's failed because I already have the same workspace name. Let me run again the same project. Okay. So initially it will check out, but the first project it won't get the variable. So here the Terraform was my workspace, and which was already there. So I'm just creating a new workspace. Name is the AWS, and just creating the job. So this will run. It will do the plan. So we can go to the our console log also. So it taken the Jenkins as a node. First git checkout. Then the first command is executed Terraform init. So this Terraform init will be run. You can see the information. So Terraform init successfully initialized. Post that it will create the new workspace. Name is the AWS. Then it will select that workspace. You can see here it will selected that workspace, and post that it will execute the Terraform plan command. So this Terraform plan will be command. It will add the output in the TF plan name, and this information what things going to create. Okay, so there is one resource will be add, 0 change and 0 destroy. This is Terraform out plan, and now you can see here this is the Terraform show is done. Now it expecting the approval. Let's go to the high level. You can give the approval from here also. This is the information which we have the Terraform plan out. So this is the output. There is some changes. What changes? So you can see the change is 0. There is a one resource going to add. I'm just giving the approval from here, and now it will go to the Terraform apply command. So see, it's started Terraform apply command. It will create the new instance in our web. So it's creating the new instance. We can go to the EC2 section just to validate their instance get created or not. So one new instance is created. This is the initializing. So this is the first instance is my Jenkins instance. Let me just rename here. Okay, so this is my Jenkins running, but this is instance which we have created. Let's see the status here. It's a successful instance created, having the TF state file also there. Okay. So now let's run again the same project with the new workspace. So it will do the Terraform plan. So this will also create new instance. So this instance is creating. So this is the end-to-end flow where we are executing our Terraform script, which basically create the AWS infrastructure. So that's called the infrastructure as a code. We are not doing anything manually, and we are triggering from Jenkins. Next session we are going to understand in depth level how we can save the Terraform state, so it won't create the new repetitive things, and if anything update at from the console side, Terraform will make sure the it state as you have written in as a code. So let's try to understand what we have learned in the test part 1. So we in first session we have understand how to configure Jenkins configuration with respect to our Jenkins file and the GitHub repositories. Second is that we configure the AWS some credentials. Then we configure the Jenkins code integration we did. Again we have created the Jenkins file which will pick from the repository, and the final flow we have created the EC2 instance in the cloud. So in this session what we are going to understand, in this session we are going to understand the S3 configuration which will store the state of Terraform resource file on the cloud. So this is important while you are playing with the DevOps project. So when you create your infrastructure, and if you keep your state file in the local, if it get deleted, if it get moved, this backup of the state file is mandatory. So how to play with the backend configuration, that we will see here, how to configure, how to prevent that backend configuration. We will use the AWS S3 backend configuration example here. The second is the remote state. So that's we will see the details of the remote states, the configuration part, and we will also see the DynamoDB locking. So the another session will not execute at the same time. We will going to launch a web application in this session. We will not simply create the EC2 instance, we will create the web application, that's Apache server, and we'll also see the auto build trigger from the repository from the Jenkins. So we will also configure the webhook configuration in this session. So let's start without fail. Okay, so I'm at the Jenkins. This is my repo, you can see here. Okay, so let me just go through the repo for what we have added some of things. So we have added some variables over here. So in this session we are going to use the region variable. So this variable basically used while you work with the different region. So this is required because when you use deployment, so your some of time the QA having the one region but production having the multiple region, you could make the differentiate over here. You could use the environment variable where you can use the production environment, QA environment, dev environment, and this is service name basically we are using here. Okay, so this is the configuration plan. I will go through the each one here. Okay, before that let me configure here. So I'm just creating the new project here. So I'm giving the DevOps part 2. So this is a kind of improvement in the first session. So initially we improve our code, we improve our quality. This is the same way. Initially we have configured the basic things. Here we will going to take some kind of advanced configuration. Let me create here. Okay, now I'm just taking our URL for the cloning. So this is same repo. So in pipeline script SCM, here we'll use the git, and I'm just passing the URL here. Here we have created one branch which is the DevOps. So this branch I'm making the checkout, and there is one folder structure, that's a DevOps project 1. In this folder structure there is a Jenkins file. You can find the same here. Okay, so let's move. So I'm simply saving here. Okay, now our project is ready. Okay, before that we will also understand the S3 configuration. So here I have created the one bucket, AWS Terraform DevOps backend. So this bucket we will use to store our S3 resource here. I will show you once this resource will be created. Second, I'm showing here the DynamoDB table. So I have created this manually this Terraform table having the log ID as a structure. This is a simple structure. I have added the one key is the lock ID. So here the lock ID will be created. So simultaneously, if your job is running, other job will not run for your code. Okay, let's move to the understand code now. So I'm just ignoring this environment variable which we already discussed in the session 1. So just moving to the plan. So how plan will be start? So here we'll use the Terraform init. So Terraform init will use the backend is true. I'm making the backend is true. What kind of backend we will which use from the our main file? Let me show you that file also. So it's a main.tf. Here I have created